Y'all ready for this? I'm not 100% happy with the cover. I ended up going back around the edge with some white gesso. I'm just not a real faded, muted color person. So, you know, fabric paint isn't necessarily my thing. Did get my date stamp. And Journaling by Fives, this is my second book. So there you go. It's not too bad. Not too shabby for a beginner. You can see where I tied the knot in my band. So here goes the big reveal. Da 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 da. Okay, this was my first page. And I ended up, you guys know this Journaling by Fives is where you tap 20 pages. It doesn't matter where you get them. It doesn't matter if you use a cheapy notebook and you Elmer's glue 5 pages together to make them stiff enough to hold up. It doesn't matter if you use a drawing book, but 20 pages. Now when I put this little advertising calendar together, I didn't have 20, I had 18. So I ended up using the inside flyleaf of this little book, which is no big deal. Believe me, it's no big deal. Then the first thing you do, step 1, you use paints and inks, and you have 15 minutes. That's all for 20 pages. That's less than a minute a page. So you better have your colors ready, and you be ready to slap that stuff on there, flip the page, and do it again. Because after 15 minutes, you're done, over and out. So that's the first 15 minutes. You can see these pages here. This was my first 15 minute. Both of these pages look the same because the ink was a little thick, and when I closed the page it came off over here. So this is what I started with. There. So that second page is what all of these pages looked like to begin with. Okay, so then the suggested step 2 is to come back, set your timer 15 minutes, have some collage papers or desk cleanup papers or something like that ready to go, and you go through there. You have 15 minutes, and you're going to slap a little bit of paper or collage paper or scrap paper or toilet paper, whatever you want to do. You've got 15 minutes to add scraps of paper to every one of your 20 pages. Step 3, you come back through with stamps and stencils. Whichever, both, it doesn't matter. Pick them out ahead of time because you will be pushed on this stage, because every stamp or stencil, and then flip the page, you've got 15 minutes. You don't have time to think this through. That's the whole point. That's why it's good for me. The fourth step, you come through and you add collage elements. I may have those in the wrong order. I am so sorry. Shannon Green, Journaling by Fives, and you'll see it. But the fourth step is focal images and words. So this is stuff that you've cut out of magazines or you've printed or whatever, and you've just got a pile of things that are fussy cut trimmed and they're laying over to the side. 15 minutes, you set the timer, you slap down whatever you can grab that's next in the pile, and you go through 20 pages. Now, that is the key to the whole thing for me, is that I don't plan ahead of time which of these elements are going to show up together. I know, it's scary. Then you go back and you have 15 minutes, everything's dry, and you've made sure that everything's glued down good. You can do that after the timer goes off. The last stage is to doodle. The last stage is you come back in and you doodle. So that's what some of this is. I'm not that good at doodling, but I managed to get through it. It's just another stage. It adds another layer of visual texture to your page, and that's why it's there. The fifth, or the last stage, you can do without the timer, and you come back through and you do free play on the pages that you want to work on and finish. And it's so much fun for me to try to figure out, why did Say Yes to Mischief end up on a page with a mime, and then these silly worm-shaped faces appeared, and then how to tie all that together. So that was what was fun for me. So anyway, that's my first page. Here's my second page again, because I didn't have 20 pages in this book. Must be the sunshine. I don't know why the arrow turned up there. And there's the sun. Big deal. I put some border around it. This little printable was from Tisha Moore. And this one ended up another Tisha Moore. I had two queens, look like goth queens. And there's a diamond and a spade on the card. And a story ended up there. So what's the story? So I said, okay, a story in spades, but give me diamonds. And it kind of blended in with everything that was there before. So I pulled out my calligraphy pen and practiced some writing and outlining. Same thing, just try to make the page elements tie in with whatever your words are. That's where I have the most fun. This one ended up with food for thought. And the butterflies and the tulip, which is taken from one of my printables, and this is a tulip I had painted. So, food for thought. Well, what's food for thought? All the pretty flowers feed the flutterbys. And there you go. You tied it all together. A little arrow coming down here, and come back in and doodle a little bit on the butterflies. This one I melted. I used Deco Arts, decoupage for the early stages on this, and when I heated this with the heat gun, it got a little bit too hot and it melted. That's okay. That's what this is for. It's to learn your stuff. So, living the Dolce Vita and this little guy, and then when I turned the page, he got some turquoise on his face, so I drew him a mustache. Can you see that? Did a white mandala. And, of course, Sappy, the good life. That's what the Dolce Vita means. And some gold trim to make it look classy. Haha. This one was a little bit of a challenge, because what I ended up with was the creator of Gorillas and this oversized mouth. So, Monster Mouth is the name of that. And it premieres on August 1st. And just came back in and did some doodling. Did some page borders. And this turned out to be one of my favorite pages in this book. I ended up with Sit Happens. I ended up with 2 round paper napkin dots, cutouts of a flower. This paper eye, and that's all I had. When I came back through, I added the egg, and then Sit Happens, egg on your face, and just doodled it all up and painted an actual face on there. Painted this eye to make that come together. And that is probably one of the grungiest faces I've ever done. And this page, that was a credit card I got in the mail that day that needed to be activated, so I just stuck it there. This was another page that I liked a lot. And I started with the Geisha Girl, which is one of my printables from Randy's Mother's Things. I had a Chinese New Year postage stamp that came on an Etsy purchase. And I ended up with To Infinity and Beyond. So what I did was wrote a haiku that has 17 syllables, and my premise was that any kind of art I've ever picked up, whether it was reading about tie-dye or collage or woodcuts, stamping, if you look far enough back in history to the Asian people, 3rd and 4th century, they were doing it. So tie-dye has its roots in what was called shibori. I'm not pronouncing that right, but that's okay. I'm a hillbilly from Arkansas, and I'm not a Japanese. So anyway, they were doing tie-dye, in essence, back then with indigo dye, and it's really cool. So what I said was, you look to the east, searching through the centuries, and find nothing new. And then this is my chop mark, and I put modeling paste down and made sure, and carved into it, made sure it was good and dry, and then came back with some wax and sheen, and I added a little piece of washi tape I had that looked like cherry blossoms and a little bit of a gold border. Aren't you glad they're just 20 pages? This one's a little bit lame, but I have a set of Asian symbols, and I don't know if y'all knew or not, but a lot of those do read in both Japanese and Chinese. This one says clarity. and it's an eye, and just some Zen tangling here and some doodling, and that one's done. This is another funny one. Oh wait, not yet. Mainly spent time on this one on the borders, and I'm looking at you, the private eye. That one's kind of simple. Drew some leaves on it. This one cracked me up because this is so not me. I had this paper doll that's one of those that you put together with joints on it. It's laying up here somewhere. And I cut it with my Cricut when they came out with that thing that you could actually cut shapes of prints and put it together. Well, I had another print out of it, and I fussy cut it, and in the 15-minute countdown I put the arms on backwards, so this one's out of joint. So I just came back and gave her a frou-frou skirt and doodled on her bodice, and I couldn't find the head when I was doing the 15 minutes, so that ended up there. I gave her some fiber hair. Looks like I need to do something else to glue that down. I did a blanket stitch with the same fiber on the edge, and then added beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And the other page got a happy face that was laying around on my desk, and I saw a couple of hearts and another face, so, you know, while I was at it. This one turned out cute, and this came from a pet magazine, and these little cutouts, they're vintage. So this one I put on one of my printables, which was a mask, and it said dog food, show dog food. I painted out the food, doodled on it, and my boys are mighty dogs. This one turned out good. I'm happy with it. After all the challenge was over, I ended up with the witchy woman and a Picasso something or other. And then this is a painting of mine, one of the eyes from a girl's portrait I did. And I wrote in some lyrics from the Eagles. Raven hair and ruby lips, sparks fly from her fingertips, echoed voices in the night. She's a restless spirit on an endless flight. Woohoo, witchy woman, see how high she flies. And I thought that just kind of tied everything all together on there, and put a crow on her shoulder. Ta-da! This one was a problem for me because I couldn't figure out, I got this out of a vintage book, and it looks like a piece of either dough sculpture or some kind of a ceramic something or other. And fiddled around with it, did some doodling, and then finally thought I could put the wee ones, invite you to step back in time. Lame, but hey, what are you going to do? You work with what you're given. This is another Picasso. This is another thing from Tisha Moore printout. And that's what I ended up with on this page. And one of these says whimsy underneath it. So always look for the whimsy. And that's my lesson for doing these journals. This one I had Film Club, and when carving your niche, use the sharpest instrument available. I didn't add a whole lot to that. I could still come back and do it, but I probably won't. This one is cute. Ended up with First Class Friday, First Class Mail, and this picture of a dog with his dog bowl in his knapsack. And I ended up with the word "Please Take Me," so I doodled on that a little bit, turned this into a marquee, and wrote "Please Take Me, My Great Vacation," starring Buster. So I like that one. That turned out cute. This one's hysterical. I don't know why I had a picture of Questlove from The Roots, but he ended up on a page with "Thanking you for 10 years." So I put some doodling around the side, put some lettering that says "Follow your quest, no matter how long it takes." And this is the last one. This little cutie ended up with him, and this word says Edgar. Doodled around it, painted around the cutout, and the end, Journaling by Fives, number 2, and the date. So there you go. And that's my second journal, and I am pleased as punch with it. So now on to journal 3. Over and out.